Hello, I'm just kind of Sir, and I'm alive. And and I might joke about that, but it's seriously been too long in my with my reactions lately. As Arsenal have only played two games this year for me to react to, and I've been dying at the bits to get back into talking about them. And today I'll briefly analyze their January transfer window, which when when I look at it right, as evident right here, is very bare and not in the least bit surprising for Arsenal. They've never really been one to make tremendous signing surge in the January transfer window. Although in the past they have acquired the likes of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who I'll get to in a second, and others, but they've also dipped their toes in and not been so successful with acquiring players such as Kim Sallstrom. But the two players they did officially acquire, Lino Sousa, a academy player out of West Brom, whom I'm not very familiar with. He's a defender. He'll go into the academy, but also someone who I'm aware of as a avid MLS fan, and that being and was signing that which caught me off guard. Austin Trusty of the Colorado Rapids, which just so happened to be owned by Stan Kroenke of Arsenal owner. Austin Trusty and Colorado Rapids, and it definitely caught me off guard. But when I think more about it, the more I like this signing, and particularly how Trusty was a mainstay member of the Western Conference leading Rapids last season. That while they kind of squandered in the playoffs, he was an invaluable member of their team, and really always has been in the MLS. At only 23, I believe he's already been an All-Star. He's already played for the U.S. men's national team, and he's really made big time. And there's still potentially room to grow too. Now, with him coming to Arsenal next summer, I don't know if that necessarily guarantees him a spot in the starting 11, and regular spot, and not unless he's able to really uh, get better. But in reality, it's unfortunate. It might just be a case of trying to fit ma- a minimum amount of players, and as a result, he might just be put out on loan, and it looks like he will probably be put out back on loan to Colorado, and maybe even end up to a plethora of teams in Europe. But to get signed by Arsenal is a big deal, and so I'm very happy for Trusty and to quote Joel Embiid, who is a avid Arsenal fan, just so has uh, Trusty the process. Now onto the departures from this transfer window, and some of them are some of them is actually really sad to see and have sentimental meaning to me seeing them go, and particularly Sead Kolasinac, of whom I had no expectations of when he came to Arsenal, but he won me over in his first ever game in the Community Shield against Chelsea in 2017, scoring the tying goal, ultimately propelling Arsenal to a win over Chelsea in the Community Shield. And in his time in Arsenal, he was truly a beast. And uh, while he may not have been, while he may have been kind of suspect in his defending sometimes, he was always fairly reliable. He literally saved, basically saved Mesut Ozil's life after he was uh, after robbers attempted to thug him and beat him. But Kolasinac is that just such a great guy, and I wish him nothing but the best as he goes to Marseille in France. Same thing goes with Callum Chambers, who has been at Arsenal longer than Kolasinac for over almost 8 years now. And it's crazy how time flies. And he was with Chambers, I've the most respect for him. He's still relatively young. He's only 27. It seems like, but he was at numerous points in his career at Arsenal. It's over 70 appearances ain't too shabby, and he was an invaluable player on the team. He was versatile, being able to play center back, right back, even some midfield sometime. So he'll be greatly missed as a key depth option. But it was just the right time for him to go. And as he goes to Aston Villa, who I believe had a very good transfer window, bringing in Philip Coutinho on loan, Luca Digne, and Chambers. They look to really rise up and finish top 10 in the table. And while Arsenal's recent performance in this year in the January transfer window leaves me kind of unimpressed, but I digress. As the last and most significant member of Arsenal to leave this January transfer window, and the writing was on the wall with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang being that person, is as he was just unhappy at Arsenal. He wasn't playing particularly well, and it was just time for both sides to go their separate ways. And he got his dream move to Barcelona, which he's been yearning for a number of years. Maybe not the best time to go to them when the club's in kind of a disarray, but it's his choice, and I respect him for that. There's a lot of great memories with Aubameyang. I can't even list them all off the top of my head, but he always played his best, and I think the first memory that comes to mind was this goal in the 2020 FA Cup final, which ultimately led them to winning it, and the joy on his face when they won was palpable. And I also loved his chemistry with Alexander Lacazette, as those two were inseparable. And it was unfortunately they were squandered by Unai Emery, who only was kind of alternated between playing them, and he never really got to play that much together. And also kind of sad, one of the last signings of Arsene Wenger made, and Chambers also now signing close to that, and the old guard is starting to move on, and it's inevitable. And one last notable move outside of Arsenal ranks, but the one that I feel like I need to acknowledge, and the former gunner Aaron Ramsey moving to Rangers in Scotland. And it kind of pains me as a part-time Celtic fan that he would betray it would betray me, I guess, not really, not would he would betray me and move to such a historic rival in Rangers. But then again, Celtic did get the upper hand in the Old Firm derby a couple days ago, so maybe Ramsey didn't make the best choice, although he is definitely guaranteed to have some play time, which he wasn't at Juventus, of which Juventus would make a couple moves out, as both Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur both moved on loan to Tottenham, and those are significant moves for them to make. And as Arsenal plays Tottenham sometime again this year, those are two names to look out for. Although Arsenal still don't play for another week against until they play against Wolves. Permanently signed Wan Hee-chan on loan from RB Leipzig. A very good signing for them that they needed to make. But overall, how can I not forget the rumor and potential soon to be official signing of goalkeeper Matt Turner from New England Revolution, who I'm also familiar with, and of whom, in my honest opinion, is the second best goalkeeper in the MLS after Pedro Galese. And at a time between the end of 2019 and the end of the 2021 season, he was undoubtedly the best goalkeeper in the MLS. But really, my opinion changed after he was after his poor performance in the playoffs, particularly in the penalty shootout against New York City FC, and that really kind of set me back on him. But I still think I'm still really high on him. I think he's been doing terrific for the United States in their World Cup qualifiers, and I think he has a ton of potential to grow. And even though, and he could be like a Zach Steffen to Ederson, as I vehemently believe Aaron Ramsdale to be the starting goalkeeper for Arsenal moving forward. And Bernd Leno will be on the way out the door probably at the end of the season, as he probably wants to move to get play time for the World Cup. So anyway, that's my recap of the January transfer window. There's a lot more moves that I don't want to I did not go into, but very eventful January transfer window, which typically isn't. I typically can't say for most years, but now we're on to the rest of the season, and it was interesting to see how it goes from here as Arsenal take on Wolves next Thursday afternoon. Arrivederci.